The poison school of Renaissance Italy, not written in books, but hidden in chalices, perfumes, and silent assassinations. In Renaissance Italy, power wasn't only won with swords or schemes. It was whispered through goblets of wine, gilded powders, and even perfumes. Hidden behind church doors and noble palaces, there were secrets of a poison school, a shadowy knowledge that terrified even kings. The Renaissance was an age of genius. Michelangelo sculpted, Leonardo sketched, and Machiavelli wrote about power. But alongside art and philosophy, another craft flourished, the subtle art of poison. Italy's city-states were riddled with rivalries, and nobles turned to substances like arsenic and belladonna to eliminate enemies quietly. Records show apothecaries in Venice and Florence discreetly providing lethal concoctions, disguised as medicine. This was no myth. Poisons were studied with the same fascination as medicine itself. The family most infamous in this deadly game were the Borgias. Rumors spread that Cesare and his sister Lucrezia used a golden ring with a secret compartment to slip poison into wine cups. Though historians debate how much is legend, there are trial records of sudden mysterious deaths around their courts. In Renaissance Italy, these stories weren't dismissed as gossip. They were feared warnings. The Borgia name became forever linked with cunning, ambition, and poison. The supposed school of poisons is often traced to Perugia and later Venice, where apothecaries and secret societies studied toxicology in chilling detail. Chroniclers wrote of classes teaching how to disguise arsenic in sweets or slip powders into cosmetics. These were not wild tales. Letters from ambassadors and records of Venetian trials confirm a network of poisoners for hire. The blending of science, crime, and politics created an underground university of death. One of the most feared toxins was aqua tofana, a clear, tasteless liquid said to kill slowly over days. Created in Naples or Rome around the 17th century, its recipe was whispered to descend from Renaissance Italy's poison schools. Women supposedly used it to escape abusive marriages, adding drops to soup or wine. Contemporary records describe over 600 deaths linked to its use before authorities cracked down. The myth of aqua tofana blended fact with centuries of fear. Not all poisoners were criminals. Some were scholars. In Padua, physicians began early studies of toxicology. They dissected animals poisoned with arsenic or deadly nightshade, trying to understand how death worked in the body. Their writings are among the earliest attempts to separate myth from science. These doctors, while feared, also saved lives by warning against toxic herbs misused in remedies. In a strange twist, the poison school laid the groundwork for modern pharmacology. Catherine de' Medici, raised in Florence, carried poison lore to France when she became queen. Chroniclers accused her of experimenting with potions on condemned prisoners, testing perfumes laced with deadly substances. Though some of this may be exaggerated propaganda, records confirm she consulted Italian apothecaries skilled in toxic arts. Her court in Paris earned a chilling reputation. Every meal, every fragrance could be suspect. Florence itself was infamous for poison plots. The powerful Medici family faced endless rivals, and assassinations were part of politics. In 1537, Alessandro de' Medici, Duke of Florence, was killed not with poison, but a dagger. Yet before his death, chronicles mentioned failed attempts to poison him at banquets. Renaissance Italy lived in constant paranoia. A smile at dinner could hide betrayal in the wine. The church itself wasn't immune. Cardinals and popes were whispered to be both victims and patrons of poison. Pope Alexander VI, a Borgia, was rumored to have died from a poisoning attempt gone wrong. While historians now think he succumbed to malaria, the story reflects the era's obsession. If a powerful figure died suddenly, poison was always suspected first. Venice may have been the true capital of poison. The Venetian Council of Ten kept detailed records of executions, many for poisoning crimes. They feared poison so much that wine tasters were employed at feasts, and apothecaries were tightly regulated. Yet behind the mask of strict laws, Venice thrived as a hub where poison knowledge was traded in secret. Poison was also political theater. In Renaissance courts, merely hinting that a rival used poison could destroy reputations. Chronicles tell of nobles refusing food at certain tables, or traveling with personal tasters. Fear itself became a weapon, shaping diplomacy and trust. Even when no poison was present, the idea of it could kill alliances. Among the substances studied, arsenic was the most infamous, nicknamed the king of poisons. White, tasteless, and easy to conceal, it was nearly impossible to detect in food. Apothecaries sold it openly for rat control, yet everyone knew it was misused for darker purposes. Renaissance Italy had no forensic science, so proving guilt was nearly impossible. Trials often relied on confessions, sometimes forced. Another common weapon was belladonna, or deadly nightshade. Its berries could kill, but women also used small doses as a cosmetic, dilating pupils to appear more beautiful, hence its name, Beautiful Woman. This dangerous blend of vanity and death was a Renaissance paradox: poison and beauty, side by side. Cases of poisoning weren't rare. In 1499, chronicles report the poisoning of Cardinal Giovanni Michiel in Venice, believed to have been orchestrated for political reasons. His sudden illness during a feast was blamed on wine tainted with arsenic. While modern historians can't confirm, such accounts filled the air with dread. Every death in power circles sparked suspicion. Torture chambers echoed with confessions. Suspected poisoners were interrogated brutally, some admitting to crimes they never committed. Women, in particular, were frequent suspects, accused of witchcraft or secret poisoning. The overlap between the witch trials and poison trials shows how Renaissance fear blurred science, superstition, and gender prejudice. The knowledge of poisons wasn't just Italian. Renaissance Italy became the hub where Arab, Greek, and medieval European texts on toxicology converged. Scholars translated manuscripts on antidotes, venomous bites, and herbal poisons. While nobles misused this knowledge, physicians preserved it in libraries. The so-called poison school was a blend of science, crime, and survival. One curious figure was Giulia Tofana, accused in the 1600s of distributing aqua tofana, though later than the Renaissance. Her legend built on centuries of Italian poison lore. She was said to have disguised the poison as holy water or face cream. Whether myth or fact, her story shows how Italy remained haunted by poison schools for generations. By the late Renaissance, rulers grew desperate to detect poisons. Alchemists tried inventing antidotes. Bezoar stones, theriac, and powdered unicorn horn were all sold as cures. Some courts even employed official poison testers. Despite these efforts, fear never faded. The science of toxicology would only mature centuries later, leaving Renaissance Italy trapped in suspicion. When we look back, the poison school of Renaissance Italy was both fact and myth. Real records of poisonings exist, but legends exaggerated them into something larger, a shadow academy where knowledge of life and death was traded in whispers. It tells us much about an age where brilliance and brutality coexisted, often at the same table. The Renaissance gave us masterpieces of art and thought, but also perfected the art of quiet death. The Poison School may never have been a literal university, but its legacy shaped politics, medicine, and myth alike. So next time you raise a glass, remember, in Renaissance Italy, every sip could mean survival or silence.